African teams at the World Cup. Yeah, African teams at this present World Cup. I'm very proud of all of them. Every one of the teams that represented Africa in this World Cup, I am super proud of every one of them except Tunisia. Yeah, Tunisia, they wobbled and fumbled to a three group stage loss, which was, I think, the worst of all the African teams. 10 of them, they all did well, except Tunisia. But the surprise team of them all is Cape Verde, which I will come to later on. In as much as these African teams, they were really, really outstanding in this tournament. Because if you can see the gap between the European teams or the South American teams and the African teams was very thin, was very little. You understand? So most of their losses came not because they weren't good or came not because they weren't up to the task. Most of their losses came simply because of maybe perhaps their lack of exposure or lack of experience in the big stage, because they competed really well. Other than Tunisia, the other African teams, name them. Even South Africa, in as much as everybody was against them because of this crazy, stupid stuff going on in their country, but they still gave a good account of themselves. And they were knocked out by Canada in the dying minute of that match in the round of 32, So, who else? Cape Verde dragged Argentina all the way into extra time in the round of 32. Argentina was lucky to get that third goal. If not, if you are going into penalties, who knows? They would have knocked out Argentina. It's possible, because penalty is anybody's game. That's why I call them the surprise team of the tournament, because they really, really gave. In short, they never lost to any team during regulation time. So they're a top-notch team from Africa, from a small island in Africa, Cape Verde. Kudos to that team. I respect them. I doff my heart for them. Yeah, Nigeria would have been another solid team in this tournament if they have qualified. But because we are really more exposed compared to some of those teams that was represented, but I don't know what happened. We always find ourselves struggling when it comes to qualifiers. But when it gets to the main tournament, we are forced to reckon with it. But during qualifiers, I don't know why Nigeria always struggle to qualify time and time again. Well, let's leave that for another day. So we talked about Cape Verde. Senegal, yeah, they gave a good account of themselves. They qualified to the round of 32 as well. Who else? Ivory Coast, yeah, they qualified to the round of 32 as well. They had their own. You understand? Senegal, Ivory Coast, even Ghana, yes. Ghana, they did well. They were able to hold England to ransom and never lost that match. They beat Panama. They qualified. I mean, from their group, you know. And who are the other teams again? Trying to remember. Congo Democratic Republic. Those people were solid. Damn it. They were really, really a solid team. Solid. They were thick. Hard to beat. You know. But it is what it is. Too bad all of these teams are out. Except that one team that is always proving that they are the best in Africa, Morocco. The last World Cup, they did the same thing. They got to the semi-final. In this one again, they are right at the quarterfinals right now to play France. So why am I talking about these African teams right now? Because I really don't feel there was need to talk about them because it's remaining just one of them. But I'm talking about them because the gulf between the African teams of old that we used to see at the World Cup has closed. It has closed. Many of those European teams before, when they meet an African team, they just score 5, score 6, score at least 4-3, beat them black and blue. But now, in this tournament, you saw that many of those African teams, they had their own against these big teams. Imagine Cape Verde, their first time at the World Cup, hold Argentina to ransom and took them into extra time in the knockout stage. Cape Verde, they had Spain to a goalless draw in the first match. They didn't lose any of their matches during regulation time. They were unbeaten until that extra time go against Argentina. Egypt, they did the same thing as well. They had their own. Algeria, yeah, they did the same thing. They had all of these teams. They qualified into the round of 32. All of these African teams except Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt, Ghana, Cape Verde, South Africa, Algeria, Congo Democratic Republic, who again? I'm trying to remember. Whenever I remember, at least I will name all of them. They gave a good account of themselves. Only Tunisia that just came around and wobbled and fumbled and they were still packing. But the other teams, they represent Africa very well. But what I want to talk about is this. In as much as the gulf has closed between the big teams, the so-called big teams, and the African teams, most especially in this World Cup. But that same old mental block seems to be there still. That mental block that makes them become a bit jittery or a bit like fearful when it matters most, you know. That kind of like, they just kind of like lose their grip when it matters most, and it leads to a kind of like collapse. In the round of 32, Senegal was leading Belgium 2-0 until the 83rd minute, when Belgium managed to score 1 goal, winning 2-0. 83rd minute. What else are you thinking of in this world other than just try and defend and run the match down and get your victory and move to the next round? But no. One costly mistake and they considered 1 goal, 2-1. Pressure set in. Fear set in. Anxiety set in. I don't know what else to call it set in. And before you knew it, they considered a second goal, and it was 2-2. From 2 goals down, up to the 83rd minute of the match. They collapsed. 2-1, 2-2. And it went into extra time. They couldn't even hold their own, since they couldn't get a third goal to win. They couldn't hold the match into at least penalty to see if Porto can shine on them and win the penalty. They still went ahead and conceded a late penalty to give Belgium the win. People say the penalty was a bit soft. Yeah, it was soft, but who are we to say it was soft when it has been given? We are not referees. We are not FIFA. We are not in charge. So those that are in charge, they gave it. But my anger was, why the collapse? Why the collapse? Why the collapse? Congo held England to ransom. They were winning until towards the late minutes of the match. They conceded 2 goals. They crumbled. They conceded 2 goals and they lost the match. Mental block. Yesterday, Egypt were leading Argentina 2 goals to nil, 2-0, up until the 79th minute. Egypt 2, Argentina 0. But lo and behold, with all the controversy that surrounded that match, people are still talking about it. Referee decisions, bias decision, and all of that. Goals being scored and not disallowed. VAR awarding a penalty to Argentina and all of that. But even the penalty that was awarded to Argentina, Messi missed it. Egypt scored a goal and it was disallowed. A few minutes later, they score that same goal again. But with all of these things being said, if referees are making wrong decisions, was that the reason why Egypt collapsed at the end of the day? You can't. There is no excuse for you to concede 3 goals after you have been leading up until the 79th minute. You have been leading 2-0 in a round of 16 match. That kind of top match against a team like Argentina. Fine, you are already winning 2-0. You don't need to score more goals anymore. Let everybody turn defender. Go and mount a roadblock in that your 18-yard box, so that they can't come anywhere near your 18-yard box. Not to talk of getting a goal. But no, they considered 1. Fear came in. 2-1. Fear came in. Before you know it, another goal came in from Messi. Before you know it, the winning goal came from Romero. Collapse. And this thing keep happening. Collapse. What is the problem? Why are they always collapsing when it matters most? Why can't they hold their own when it's not that they are not good, they are a good side? What is in their head? What are they thinking at that moment when it matters most, that they can't always hold their own until the end? They can't see off games. I can't remember any African team in this knockout stage that was beating black and blue in the knockout stage. No. They all had their own. Some of them, they led in the matches that they lost for a long time before they finally lost the match. How come they can't hold it up until the end of the match? That at a point, they just lose their mind, they lose their grip and crumble. It's painful because these teams are really good. How come they can't hold their own up until the end of the match? How come they can't manage matches until the end? It bothers me. This is the main reason why African teams have not been able to win the World Cup all these years. Because there is that mental block that when it matters most, they always kind of like crumble and throw it away, no matter how good they will play. That happened to Nigeria a million times in the past. Senegal, the supposed African champion, before it was rescinded and given to Morocco, leading 2-0 up until the 83rd minute. They threw the match away and lost the match. Egypt, another big side, leading Argentina, the world champion 2-0. Create history. Sea of the match. Let it be on the headline that Egypt knocked out the defending champion Argentina from the World Cup. But they don't want all those big headlines to be written in gold. It pains me because out of 10, we are left with just one now in the quarterfinal. And they are playing France. France are a very good team this tournament. But if this is what Morocco have done, at least they've really proved that they are the best team in Africa. You don't need to play a tournament to decide it. They are really the best team in Africa. They have shown a lot of maturity. They have shown a lot of growth. They have shown a lot of improvement. In short, they are just the best. In spite of their coach being sacked before the tournament began, the new coach stick with the old pattern and everything. They are firing. Imagine how they managed to beat Canada, the host nation, 3 unreplied goals. Even if they didn't play really well, but they got those 3 goals. That's how to know a mature team. Well, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed to see how they're going to fare against France. But I know it's not going to be easy. But however it is, I won't blame them if they lose that match, because they've really, really proved themselves to be a very good team. But I just pray God help these African teams and help them break that mental block that always drag them down when it matters most. And I pray the next tournament Nigeria will be involved. And I'm sure we have some maturity, compared to some other African teams that we can put on display when it matters most. Yeah, well, sorry for those teams, that feel aggrieved maybe by poor officiating. Teams like Egypt, like yesterday, and some other teams that the officiating wasn't really, really fair to. But it's football. You win some, you lose some. Some win more, some lose more. So that is it. Well, anyhow, kudos to the African teams, and shout out to Argentina and to Morocco, and our prayers goes to them for at least, and we hope they give a good account of themselves in the next match against France and see what happens. Well, so far so good. At the beginning, the World Cup was boring, but now it's getting a bit excited, I'm sure, because it's knockout stage. So let's predict who is going to qualify from the quarterfinal into the semi-final, but probably who's going to get to the final and win the tournament. Drop it on the comment section. It's still me, your brother, Comrade Presty. I'll see you anytime soon. Drop your comment, share the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Facebook, on Instagram. You will hear from me soon. We're always here. talk about everything. I salute you. God bless you.